Islam Sheikh Dwayne Baffa-Bey. Islam, Rhonda Arrington-Bey, your wife. Islam. It is July the 26th, 2027. I'm at formerly Extended Stay America. Now it's called Admiral Suites. Islam. I just finished. You probably already know. I just finished eating. I like to say harmonizing with food. I just finished harmonizing with food. So um, today I got up and sort of rocky. I'm starting off the day. I had, as a spiritual practitioner, I experienced a lot of spiritual experiences, mental experiences, and so and the more and more the more and more I grow spiritually, the more and more I'm able to see, and I'm able to see how the thread through the years. When I say through the years, I'm saying like 100 years ago, and how in reference to knowing that we are among unclean spirits, how unclean they really are. They really are. And also, Sheikh Dwayne Baffa-Bey connecting Prophet Noble Drew Ali's prophecy. I slowed down on my reading, but I don't know if you knew this, but I assume you did because I used to email you quite a bit in North Carolina. But Imani and I, we would be up all night, like night reading, and then learning of Prophet Noble Drew Ali's prophecies. I read them more than once. And it's been a while though since I've read them. And then the Holy Quran Circle 7, I started reading in 2013. When I say North Carolina, I'm saying this is in the year 2013. Abbas left to go live with Masal Bey, his father, at the end of 2013. So you know this. So so nonetheless, Imani and I, we continue to study, and I continue. We took the classes, Imani and I, at Moorish American National Public. I paid for him and I to take the classes. And I remember because I was approved for a voucher, because at first I thought, I was like, I'm going to, I didn't think I was going to be able to afford to pay for Imani and I to take classes at Moorish American National Republic. Now, before I was taking classes at Moorish American National Republic, I would join Selena Cordova, Il, and Asir, and I think they were like charging $20 of not to for their knowledge, and I was very thankful because me learning from them led me to move forward and learn from Moorish American National Republic. So I applied for a voucher at Moorish American National Republic so that I wouldn't, because I didn't think I was going to be able to afford it. That's all there's to it. I didn't think I was going to be able to. And I wanted to make sure that I wanted Imani and I to be able to complete the classes and take the classes. But what I ended up doing was using our tax refund. So I was approved, and then I called them back and I told I told the person that's in charge. I said, we're gonna pay full price, and they're like, are you sure? I said, yes, I'm sure. We're paying. I'm paying full price. I think it was $350 each. I think it's been a long time. But anyway, I took the classes, Imani and I, and we completed the classes. So then you and I were connected because I spiritually married to you, or obligate. Really, the word is obligate. Because when anything that happens in that sacred mental plane is very sacred, and because you were my first connection in that sacred mental plane, Sheikh Dwayne Baffa-Bey, this lifetime, I truly had not recalled the memory of how sacred it was, and I definitely didn't know the world I was among, because I wasn't quite sure. I didn't know about the telepathic code. or the telepathic code that exists. I had no idea. Now, as time went on, I started to see some things that, like, okay, I think that person maybe, how did that person know I was going to do that? This is after you and I had obligated a spiritual mental plane, plus listening to the Moors online. When I say online, I'm saying the conference call. Yeah, I was like, okay, how they know something? It's not all, but because I don't want to seem like I'm accusing anyone of having the telepathic code, but just like how they know. They just said something that sounds just like how they must be definitely connecting spiritually as well. The same words I see in the mental plane when I was with you are the same words I was. Some of them might be the same words, sheiks and sheikesses, that I hear on the conference call. So, excuse me, because that's a mental plane. The sacred mental grove is a mental plane that I was able to go to and connect with you. So I was very innocent in reference to the sacred mental grove. I didn't know. I did not know about the world we were among. I didn't know about artificial intelligence, robots that could transmit signals and engage through radios, satellites, TV. I had no idea. This is so, and you know this, sheet Dwayne Bay. So my consciousness changed, and I'm going to lead up to why I brought up Caveat Emptor and Prophet Noble Drew Ali, speaking about, in so many words, wicked Moors are going to fall down for the last time. So, because to some that might be like drastic, especially it's like for the last time. That sounds like the end of the world stuff. Yeah, right. But the more and more truth reveal herself to me, the more and more I can see how this thought prophecy could possibly have some real truth to it. Islam. I've heard Moors demonstrate some of the words and thoughts of Prophet Noble Drew Ali in the past, and they pointing out how things have come to pass. They'll say something in reference to what Prophet Noble Drew Ali had prophesied, and to recall and bring forth and give creditation to his sight, and I guess to remind those who possibly doubted Prophet Noble Drew Ali, because I remember hearing about some wars definitely doubting Prophet Noble Drew Ali's sight and what he could see. And so in reference to Caveat Emptor, and he's speaking about wicked Moors falling for the last time, I it's easy to say that could be that's really extreme, because I've heard some words. Right now I'm experiencing a thought, so I'm going to use the thought. It's a thought. So in reference, as a spiritual practitioner, I could definitely have learned when those that are unclean and unnatural plot thoughts, and when thoughts appear. So I can I have my thoughts that come about, but also I can tell through practice and learning myself, because Prophet Noble Drew Ali says, know thyself. And when you think you learn yourself, or your lower self and your higher self, but know thyself. So what I've done and what I'm doing with humility is learning who I am, learning myself, learning all aspects of my body, my mind, spirit, and so forth. So using the thought, I've heard Moors or just people in general say there's nothing new under the sun. It's like there's nothing new under the sun. What you see going on now is like it's happened before. So in that sort of brought a little doubt. It's like, well, if there's nothing new under the sun, why would Prophet Noble Drew Ali say for the last time? But but my thought was also, and when I was had that thought, just contemplating, something was just telling me something's different about these times, real different, and they real serious. So the book was still turning for me to, for truth to reveal herself to me. So I'm going to go back. So this is now in 2013. And once again, I obligated to you, Sheet and Wayne Bay. I run Arrington-Bey in August of 2013. And once again, I was, my consciousness changed in 2010, 2011. And I went through this with you. I told you how my consciousness changed. I was sleeping on the couch, and Abbas and Imani were watching TV and playing in front of me, but I fell asleep on the couch. And this woman came to me, looked similar to me. She had a red dot in the middle of her forehead, and she was so serious. I mean, when I say I didn't see her blink, I didn't see her blink. Okay? And then she was just looking at me in my dream. This is in a dream. This is one of the most lucid dreams I have ever had in my life. And she was just looking at me serious. Like, and then after, I just couldn't help but look at her eye to eye. And then she just kept doing like this. So I followed her hands. And she was so serious. She was like, then all of a sudden she did like this. And because of my eyes were already following her hands, I looked up. And then a black dot fell down and hit me right here. And then fumes were all around me. White fumes all around me. And when the dot hit me right here, I was like, like that. And my sons, Imani and Abbas, they went, Mom, you okay? I was asleep. And I said, yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. I was like, I'm okay. I didn't know what I just experienced. And then this was in around 2010 going on 2011. Then I fell back to sleep. I didn't go back to sleep, but I closed my eyes and I was still in the dream. And I saw the fumes all around me. And at first I was afraid to look, but then I made myself look and to see. And my heart was just like it was about to come out my chest. And then I got up. And that's when I started to change. And I felt like a energy of oppression on me, and I wanted to go to what they call magic shops, and I was starting to burn herbs and incense and crystals, and I started to order these books like the Kabbalion. I brought these two very thick books about Egyptology. And I connected, and I started looking, and I definitely searched and went straight to Moors. So, but I didn't have comprehension of what I experienced, but it was real. And it was real to a point where my whole thought process changed. I wanted to live. When I say live, I want to demonstrate myself with high morality, really high morality. And when I would think back on the things I did, it's as though I felt like so much sorrow, and I mean literally I would cry thinking about the things I did in my past, as if it was just like I was just in sorrow thinking about what I did in my past. Islam. And I'm that's just keeping it 100, and I'm being very honest with that. And anyway, and so what's bringing tears to my eyes right now is because I know truth. I know more truth of why, even though there's accountability there, but still why I behave in manners that was immoral, um, that was outside of my nature or who I am truly. Because after that experience of my consciousness changing with the woman that looked similar, definitely similar to me, I started to care more about my health, how I treat others, how I respond. So that's when I started to have issues more with the hospital I was at. I was earning money at the hospital. I saw some things. I was like, I'm not doing that. you know. Anyway, I'm not gonna go there. Because the book have definitely truth revealed herself about certain hospitals, and I'm not accusing this hospital that I used to work at, but truth has revealed herself about certain hospitals being corrupt and ran by corrupt banks, and also those that are unnaturalized, that could be in the military, Navy, Army, police, and foreigners. And so truth has revealed herself about the medical system that's corrupt. There are those medical systems that are built and still try to heal in a holistic manner or non-holistic, but they have intentions. They are not waiting or doing or encouraging unhealthy habits or behavior upon citizens, or using that which could be considered laboratory experiments, AI, robots, to spread diseases, viruses, cause people to be sick, because they know how to manipulate science, sound, vibration, frequency, whatever different ways that a corrupt banking system that's connected to the hospital, that's connected to unnaturalized military forces, Navy, Army, and so forth, and the police, and others that are being used, because definitely there are some very wicked foreigners that are being used, that are using them. So yes, truth unveiled herself about that, and in that there's a spirit. That's an unclean, unnatural spirit, very unclean, unnatural, that has fed off blood money, and that's all there's to it. It's blood money for years. I'm just gonna stop at 100 years, but we know it's been a lot longer than that. Islam, blood money for over 100, I'm gonna just say example 100 years, but we know it's been a lot longer. So making blood money have fed off the innocence. So anyway, getting back, that's how when my consciousness changed, I went straight to Moors, pretty much overall, to learn, nets flying around, to learn about who I was, and then I started to go from there. So so when I first decided to go to the sacred grove, with you, I was, I don't know, I was still connected with you, Sheikh Dwayne Bey. There was just something very strong in reference to affection. I want to use, because we had a lot of affection there, right? But it wasn't, I didn't feel that way with everybody else in my life. I have never been in a sacred mental grove before, but I'm saying in life, in just life period, it was like this, I don't know. So you being a medium, yes, I think you probably had some type of engagements or effects on me, but I think I had it on you too, because I definitely didn't feel manipulated. I trusted you. Now, yes, there was things that you had did that made me that questioned your trust sometimes in reference to another woman, but otherwise, just knowing that it's you, I trusted you, and I love, and I still do. And the reason why I can say that, because I'm saying it in truth. I'm saying it in truth, not because, or I'm not saying it because I'm trying to overcome sadness of what may be true that you were or were not involved in reference to any form of tears I cried, heartache I may have experienced, my birthrights and inheritance, Imani birthrights and inheritance, Abbas Malik Bey's birthrights and inheritance being jeopardized, or in some cases, in the three names I just said, where Abbas Malik Bey is not here with me, not being able to implement his birthrights and inheritance. Okay, I'm not saying that, and I'm not accusing you either. What I'm saying is, Sheikh Dwayne Bey, is who you see is a being, a celestial being who have a high thought process. And when I met you in the sacred grove, I said to you, I said, Sheikh Dwayne Bey, I knew you before, and I was your wife. And because I am not, yes, I think there was an attempt to, what's the word, mix me up, like many celestial beings mix us up, so that we do not awaken and be within our full self again. So then, therefore, we can be bred out even more, bred out, till we are what we see now today. Some, not all, blacks saying, brother, hey, I love her, you know, or some type of robot or other lab freaks, or the Mongoloid saying werewolf, birdman, pale skin saying three, Mason. So yes, that was that attempt, maybe, and that has, I think, has been for a while, but it, for whatever reason, I saw ahead and I protected myself, and that's what caused me to awake in 2010. And me having a higher thought process, because I am a celestial being, a being that's out of a world that is created on oppression, bondage, and out of natural law. I see on a far ahead. I don't see, I'm looking at my wings still. I don't see just right in front of me. I see far ahead, and the love I have comes from a long time ago. In humility, I'm saying this, Dwayne, because I know you have sight as well. I know you have sight, but I'm telling you, I have sight too. And I'm saying this in humility. That is, if I don't know anything else, Sheikh Dwayne Bey, I know that about myself. I can see. And so, and what I saw when we obligated, I didn't know, just like when my consciousness changed and I thought back of how, and I felt so much remorse where I was crying of what I had did before my consciousness changed, before I awoke. I didn't know. As we were engaging, we doing our bonding, our blood bonding, trying to keep ourselves together. I didn't know all that you were connected to before you met me. I didn't know the life or that which surrounded you, and how much of a hold or grip they had on you or not on you, or what. I just didn't know. I had no idea what type of ties. But But my thoughts, my higher self said, pray for him. So one day I was in the sacred mental growth with you, and I had a white powder that came from a thought, an energy of what I knew ancient times before long. I mean, when I say ancient times, I'm saying more than thousands of years ago. Sheet the way Bay. Time never was when man was not. So I'm giving you an idea how far back I can go with you, and how far back my thoughts also may go. So I grabbed the white powder and I prayed over you. Not because you said pray over me. It was something natural that came to me to do. And I think it's because I knew and saw ahead that these days were going to come between you and I. These serious times that Prophet Noble Drew Ali has prophesied that wicked Moors are going to fall for the last time. Okay? So I think now I say ages, however far back, I knew I was going to be with you this time. And I knew these times were going to be very, very serious. And so that is what caused me as a priestess, to pray over you. Not because I'm trying to forgive you, but I think I saw already ahead. So I prayed and I covered your body from head to toe with a powder, a prayer of protection as a priestess. Islam. That's what you see in front of you right now talking. A priestess who values who values a high frequency of her covenants and her highest self, who values a high frequency of implementation of natural, divine, and cosmic laws. What you see, there's little bugs flying around, or a bug, I should say, like a net or something. This is what you see talking to you, and this is what you had in the sacred mental growth with you. That's why you were my first, and that's why we connected, and that's why there were signs that I was going to come to you again. So now we're in a time where Prophet Noble Drew Ali states once again, wicked Moors are going to fall for the last time. So he's not saying they're going to have a chance to come back up, Sheikh Dwayne Bafube. That they're going to be able to use alchemy and science, some magic, and come back up. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and this is in connect. I'm just going to remind you some of maybe by me just saying this will recall thoughts of Moors showing some of his prophecies. You adapt, so I'm assuming that you probably know, and seeing some of the things come to truth. So he did not say they're gonna come back up. He said they're gonna fall for the last time. So to fall is not something I would say is would be a part of my ascension, okay, or your ascension. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. So that's what I think about right now. Now at the time, and I'm not trying, and let me back up, okay, because I don't want to seem like I'm trying to scare you either, because I know in the past, because of the unseen Allah inside of me that harmonizes with the universe and the cosmos outside, because of the elements inside of me, who I am, the elements, wind, fire, water, earth, who I am, and that harmonize with the elements outside. And it's easy for me to be like, oh, you better get right. You better get right, like a preacher. So I don't want to be that way. But what I'm trying to say is, Sheik Dwayne Balfour-Bey, is I have sight. That's all. And when I say I love you, it's not like, and I love you, why don't you love me? No, I'm saying is what caused me to pray for you, that I'm connecting with this day and time, is the book pages are still turning, or I think I was doing this way, as I'm turning, as the spirits of truth are still, the spirits of truth are still revealing herself, or revealing itself to me, is that I knew you in one moment, all right, because now I'm feeling engagements, and it's an engagement of what I have learned is to block thoughts, block the flow of thoughts, which connects to the communication and verbalization of what you're trying to say, or what a person may be trying to say or articulate. So I remember Sheik Dwayne Balfour-Bey. And so I just want you to grasp at this moment, if you can, in humility, that you are looking at a being who saw ahead. And that is what awoke me in 2010, because it was time. Sometimes when I would be in so much, I want to say, dis-ease, when I would hear certain Moors go through so much energy and put so much energy, male and females, seem to have high frequency. This is and I'm speaking on a spiritual level, on a high status, on separating us. And this is before the books of truth was folding. The pages were turning. The books of the spirits of truth revealing herself in justice and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. But they just started, revealing themselves to me in different levels. And so even right now, when I'm telling you about the love that I have for you, it is on a complex level, a complex form of love. It is not the love that is shallow. Okay? It is a different form of love. Because I knew you way back. And I knew this day was going to come. So I felt this ease listening to certain sheiks and sheikesses, or those seem to be on a high status, and watched them put so much energy, very heartful or heartless, it seemed like, harmful energy in separating us. I would blame myself sometimes. A lot of times I did. I was like, and this is on a spiritual and mental level. Because, I was like, maybe because I don't have money, they might think I want your money. For a while I didn't know you had money. I had thoughts possibly, but I wasn't sure. I really wasn't. And I'm still not. Tell you the truth, I can only go by assumptions. So, so I used to think maybe they think because I had 2 children by 2 different men in my past, because that past, those thoughts, not realizing that even some of the Moors that want to separate us can also be a part of the witchcraft to even make me feel or experience old thoughts, make me feel like inadequate, that I'm not good enough for you, that look at how she behaved in the past. Let's put that spirit on her. Keep bringing her down. Keep her down. And the one that we think is good enough for him, we're going to raise her up. Why would they even be that way? Why? I was like, what did I do to them? So, but then I started to think about some thoughts that I was experiencing when I first met you. And I kept dismissing these thoughts, and recently these thoughts were being replayed. Pretty sure by those the unclean spirits. So I believe that there's a strong or when I say strong, there's many there's unclean spirits that have been manipulating through radio, Black African Americans. That's the body of unclean spirits, just like any other unclean spirit that can be in a body, Mexican, South Central American, pale skin, wherever, but definitely and transmit thoughts because they've been watching for a long time. And so they can replicate the same thought, especially if you're sleeping and they invading your mind, and they latching onto that wave of thought. But they can only go but so far, especially in this lifetime. Islam, Allah's great. When you have your field of protection up and you don't let them in. But when you young, like Abbas, young, he was 13 going on 14, if I remember correctly, and I sent him to New York. Then it's just like seeing putting a lamb in front of a wolf, and the lamb have no protection. So I didn't think of how some of these Moors, not these Moors, but Moors, who and this on a spiritual level, I'm saying this as a priestess, who who could possibly have used maybe some form of tactic, maybe some form of vulnerability. I'm not removing accountability from you, but acknowledging that possibly there was a point where you had a life before me, which pulled you in to a world that you might not be too proud of. And maybe you have done some things that you're not proud of as well as I did. But instead of you being able to pull yourself away from that frequency, you had too many around you encouraging that lower self thought and behavior. Whether it's dealing with blood sacrifice, I'm not saying accusing you, but blood sacrifice, rituals, sacrificing, sexual sacrifice, treaties with unclean, unnatural spirits. So instead of having someone to help pull you up out of that frequency, that you possibly could be surrounded by those who could never rise anyway. They have made their bed and they're comfortable with it. That's why they have no problems showing and displaying their lower self, because they are one of the fallen Moors that will never rise again, and they have no problems with that because they're not feeling the heat. They're not feeling that fire right now. Islam. And so that's a thought that I was experiencing and acknowledging. So with that, I used to have this thought, recalling the thought that I've been experiencing recently. I'm going to try to say this before the camera cuts off. And it was when I first met you, and we were doing a lot of rituals to blood bond. And I remember some of the Moors was saying words on the Sunday conference call, hinting that we need to stop, as in we should stop. And and I didn't understand why, because I mean, I called you my husband. I went through the acts of that, and you were my first and only willing participant. So I was like, why? I didn't know your financial background, Sheik Dwayne Baffler, but you know this. I did not know, and I did have thoughts about it because of thoughts can be plotted, whatever, and I wondered, of course, but I had no really true substance or of what kind of financial background you might have, or the wealth you might have right now, have now or then, or what. I had no idea. I was just very, very happy to be with you. That's all I can really say. I knew I was supposed to be with you, but I had this thought of unclean spirits seeing me come back and connecting with you. And these were unclean spirits they were melanated, and not some pale skinned devil, but melanated. And they saw me coming back to be with you, and that there was another force of energy that was going to be there to block, I don't want to say block, because that was but to keep me from connecting with you. And I used to always not always, I used to, the thought would be that was whoever you might be, that some might say you love now. And because of this, all the energy that was so negative, I was, it's like, it's amazing. How could, I mean, these are Moors that I look up to. And to hear them, this is on a spiritual, mental level. If you don't have the spiritual eye and mental plane, then you wouldn't be able to catch on. So this is definitely dealing with our Moorish nation. But Moors that sheiks and sheikesses that, I admire, that I look forward to just give love to hear them behave in a manner and then be bold. It's like they're bold about it. Or to find out things that I didn't know. And, it's like, possibly it's true, possibly it's not. I'm not accusing. I guess I was still in that energy field of purity as I was when I first started my journey and looking to file papers with Arrington-Bey, Abbas Malik Bey, and I, as naturalized Moors. Purity. I wasn't trying to get out of pain or get out of doing this or get out of doing that or whatever reason. I was in purity then. I'm in purity now. So but I was like, for so long it was just, I was on a physical level or a surface level of what possibly be the reason why I'm experiencing such things, not realizing that we're among a telepathic world to an extent where you have kids or children that are telepathic, that there are lab experiments that are in high places that focus on breeding, money transaction, and truly trying to get rid of different bloodlines or create a whole new being, some type of look human but it's not human. I didn't know how far the rabbit hole goes. And so I didn't have the thoughts of birthrights and inheritance to an extent how a more who have knowledge, who know how far the rabbit hole goes, if they choose to partake and ally with these unclean spirits, how wicked, truly wicked they must be. And thoughts, which the National Gray Sheet says your thoughts dictates your heart. What's in your heart? I mean, Allah forbid, though I ever have a wicked heart. I've heard him say something similar to that. Say, or what comes out your mouth or your thoughts is in your heart. So once again, spirits of truth, the pages just kept turning. The spirits of truth just kept coming. Justice, spirits of justice, just kept speaking to me, just showing me a celestial being, a celestial more, who does not have the telepathic code, who refused the telepathic code. So does Arrington-Bey. We reject the telepathic code. Why Prophet Noble Drew Ali used the word caveat emptor, and how deep is that for him to say what he said, when obviously Prophet Noble Drew Ali loved his people. But who is his people? Islam. Who is Prophet Noble Drew Ali's people? Islam. But Prophet Noble Drew Ali said he loved his people. The highest self. I pray, and so through my divine, a high frequency of my highest self, my sight becomes even more clearer. My highest self, which radiated so much when my consciousness changed. That's why my frequency just rose. So with my frequency rising, it caused me to feel so much remorse of what I had did in my thoughts and my behavior before my consciousness changed, before I awoke. It was my highest self that was radiating that melon, that deep dark melon, that melanated seed. That frequency was so high. So when certain unclean spirits say we gotta bring her down, gotta break her, they're trying to break that spirit that harmonizes with the earth and the universe in a high frequency of natural, divine, and cosmic laws. Through that high frequency of our divine covenants of the Most High that I still have, that Arrington-Bey still have, and that I believe Sheikh Dwayne Bey, you still have. So, I think, when I was getting back to that thought, so just like I'm a priestess. I am a priestess. In humility, I am a priestess. I'm saying this. I know. Just like I saw years back up today, there were priests and priestesses that also saw who were in a thought of the lower self, and what those may say today, or Prophet Noble Drew Ali say today, wicked. These are very unclean and wicked wizards that knew. That's what I think. That was the thought. But my thought, so these were thoughts that I thought about in 2013, 2014, then I dismissed them. And the thoughts will occur gradually through the years, and especially when on the surface it seemed as though the word block was being used. But now I don't think it's that. I think it is more than Sheik Dwayne Bafube is your savior. I think it is more than Sheik Dwayne Bafube loves somebody else. Islam, Sheik Dwayne Bafube. It is more than Sheik Dwayne Bafube feels guilty for what he has done. What I'm trying to tell you, Sheik Dwayne Bafube, is the pages of the book is turning. And what I'm seeing, truth is, what truth is, does not change. Truth is art, and art is Allah. I was your wife years ago, and I am your wife now. That's how I'm able to pray for you. Because I saw. And I had to cleanse my heart. I had to cleanse my heart so that I can continue to pray. So that's where the spiritual showers come. And pray for cleansing of your heart. Or send a command, actually. It's a command. I like to say command now. Because I'm definitely working on harmonizing. So, anyway, I'm going to just leave it at that right now. I think there's more to being Prophet Noble Drew Ali's people than just a more saying being on a high status and knowing the knowledge, the education, the science, the alchemy, herbs, making herbs and so forth. I think it is more complex. It's really complex. And Prophet Noble Drew Ali, once again, he said, I love my people, Islam. And Sheik Dwayne Bafube, there's someone out there. I love you.